So we know that when we think about Jazz Fest, of course we think of food, we think of art, we think of the people, we think of festing, but we also really think about those musicians too. And there is one voice that I have been a fan of for a really long time, and she is here today. There are few voices that capture the heart of New Orleans quite like Erica Falls. Soulful, powerful, and timeless. She's a native daughter of this fine city whose music embodies spirit, resilience, and joy. And Miss Erica Falls is here with us today for this Jazz Fest edition. We're going to dive into her creative process behind her distinctive sound and what fans can expect to hear from her performance at Jazz Fest 2026. Erica, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
I know you're on your way to a rehearsal, actually, so glad you stopped through.
I'm glad I can make the time.
Thank you. So, Erica, beyond your music, you have built a really formidable, distinct personal brand. Mm-hmm. One, when we hear Erica Falls, we're like, ooh, right? We know it's soulful, it's confident, it's elegant, it's elevated, yet deeply connected to the community as well. Mm-hmm. How long have you been performing?
All of my life. From the home, my mother was an amazing singer and pianist. So just growing up in the home, singing with her, singing with in church, growing up in church, and then venturing out to different bands and stuff. So, music has sort of always come and gotten me and taken me where I needed to go. So all of my life.
Okay. So you've been called the soul of New Orleans. Tell us, what is the source of your creativity? Where do those ideas and emotions come from when you're writing them and performing them?
Well, for me, it's God and spirit. I was reading a book and Marvin Gaye said, if you tap on the table and you just hear tapping, then you're not a songwriter. But if someone is tapping on the table and you hear melody, well, then you're a songwriter. And I've always heard melodies. Mm-hmm. And so I always pull from those different resources, my church upbringing, my home upbringing, things that I've lived through, experiences as my resources to draw from when I'm creating and writing.
Okay. All right. So you always mention that you are homegrown. I've seen you, and you even have an album, Homegrown,
yeah.
Right? Which I love. So you always talk about I'm homegrown. And in particular, you always throw out the Ninth Ward.
Yes.
Right? Which I actually live in now. Mm-hmm. How does being from New Orleans and the Ninth Ward in particular influence your way of being, your way of performing, and your way of just like being an artist and writing?
Well, we have the Ninth Ward, Seventh Ward, Uptown, West Bank, and each pocket has its own culture. To say, even though we're all New Orleanians, it has its own culture. And growing up in the Ninth Ward, middle-class neighborhood, my mother was a school teacher, my dad was a letter carrier for the post office, and they were avid music lovers. And just, my introduction to WWOZ was my father listening to it in the kitchen and me asking, well, who is that? And, at that time, you could pick up the phone and call and ask the DJ who was playing, what record are you playing? So, growing up in the Ninth Ward and having that experience really transfers into my writing and just my everyday being, all the lessons that I learned. Because, I grew up in the neighborhood. If you didn't speak to the neighbor on the corner, you got in trouble when you got home,
So manners and respect.
Yes. And all of that, and just my mother was such an elegant, beautiful, articulate woman. My father was such a handsome, articulate, smart man. So all those things, growing up in my home in the Ninth Ward, I carry with me.
We're so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I was at a recent performance, and I heard you say that music is your saving grace.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
Sometimes the audience forget that we go through things because our job is to help you to escape or to relate or connect. And so sometimes when I'm really going through things, music is my saving grace and the stage is my sanctuary. It's where I get to lay it all down. And, and the good thing for the audience is they get to receive that and then they send it right back. It's the reciprocal energy, that flows between myself and the audience. And so, yeah.
So your song, Big, I recently witnessed, because I have to say witness, I didn't just see it, I experienced you performing that live at the French Quarter Fest. And I was absolutely blown away. You had so many emotions that you put into that song. And you also have an album called Emotions as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How does this song relate to you, this song Big? Because it seemed as if when you really performed that song, there was something going on spiritually.
Yes.
You mentioned Mama and Daddy, and I
Yeah.
just want you to tell everybody else. We'll even kind of throw to a cut of that if we can.
Yeah.
Patient, understanding.
Well, Big for me was my song to say, don't put me in a box. You know, and in this industry, you can sort of be put in the box that you're only good enough to do this or good enough to do that. And so for that song, for me, it was like kicking the door open and saying, listen, here I am. And it takes me back to what my parents instilled in me. And so it's where I get emotional sometimes when performing that song, as the lyric says, like a tree planted by the water, I am my mother's daughter. Shine bright like the sun, because my daddy said I am the one. And so sometimes, you know, they're no longer with me, but I still feel them on stage. And so it can hit me at times where I become very emotional. But Big is my song really to say, hey, I was talking my stuff on this one, like, hey, don't put me in the box, because I know what I have and you know what I have too.
Right.
So that's really what that song is about.
So, speaking of big, you're performing at Jazz Fest. And for many people, that is considered to be very big.
Yeah.
What does performing at Jazz Fest mean to you?
Well, you know, it means everything to me because Jazz Fest is one of my favorite times of the year, right?
Okay.
And even before I started performing at Jazz Fest, I would just love to go and just soak up all the energy that's happening. You have bands here, band there, people walking around. You know, it's hot, but
Yes.
you love it. You don't mind.
Right, all the outfits. It's very...
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
It's very festive. So I just love the energy of Jazz Fest. And so performing, to be able to be on the stage and look out and you see all those people and they rocking with you and they having a good time, it means everything to me. It's such a fuel for me to also to keep going, to keep moving forward. Because, you know, this industry can be fickle and sometimes you say, you know what, I think I'm gonna go do something else.
Right, right.
It's been a long time coming. Not today. Don't know the details.
I just saw you at French Quarter Fest, and I was watching you, and you were killing it. Your hair was amazing, your outfit was amazing, and you were giving it your all. And I was like, how could she possibly up-level this performance for Jazz Fest? So can you tell us, how do you ensure that each of your performances are different, or do you? And in particular, what, if you can give us a sneak peek into, what can people expect from this Jazz Fest performance?
Well, you know, as a musician and a singer, you can get bored, right?
Okay.
So I always like to video the show and go back and say, okay, well, I need to tweak this here, or we can do this next time, or we're going to take this song out, we're going to put something else in, or we're going to take a break here. So it's just a matter of sitting down, studying. I learned that from MC Hammer.
Okay.
He would video all of his shows and go back and say, okay, needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed. So I took note. And so those are the things that I do, and I sit with my musical director, my MD, Nick Mercadal, and I say, hey, listen, I want to do this here, and I don't want any dead space here. Let's keep some melodies playing while I'm conversing with the audience. So it's just different little things that I take, and I always try to level up and make it better. And then that way I don't get bored either.
Okay. Right, right. Yeah, because we don't want you to get bored.
No.
We can't have that.
Well, I'm very excited about this Jazz Fest because I have Kyle Roussel, who will be with me on keys, and I have a cat from Brooklyn, Marcus Machado, who's going to be on guitar with me, and he's played with so many people, of course, with my MD, Nick Mercadal, and my longtime friend and amazing bassist, Donald Ramsey.
So you change up your band for different performances?
Sometimes I do, and because I perform with Kyle, and sometimes I say, I think Kyle will be cool on this one, so I'll call him and he'll play Jazz Fest or Funk Fest with me.
Okay.
So we sort of trade a little bit with that.
So then automatically there's kind of a different show.
It's a
Because they go
different
somewhere and you gotta
right,
go.
and it's a different vibe, and it keeps it fresh.
Yes.
And it keeps me. I like to say, it allows me a different way to express, because each musician brings something different.
Right.
And so I love that. So I get to counter and I get to play with that a little bit. So I'm really excited about that. And we're going to do a little small tribute to D'Angelo, Angie Stone, and Roberta Flack.
What?
Yes, so, because I loved each of them
Yes.
immensely.
Yes.
I mean, their music is sort of, goes along with the timeline of my life in certain areas and arenas, right?
Right.
So I am going to have that on the show as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Will Vintage Soul be with you?
Yes.
Okay, because I saw what you all did at French Quarter Fest, and I was like, the call and response, I was like, okay, they got to go
Yes,
with it.
yes.
Okay. All right. And so do you prepare any differently for festivals versus concerts? Is there any different preparation that happens?
No, it's basically the same.
Okay.
The same energy, same thought process, same concept that you want to make sure you want to level up. You want to make sure that this show is better than the last one in some way, and that we just have fun.
Got you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your career. You have navigated the music business, I think, beautifully while staying really true to your artistry. What marketing strategies have you utilized that have been really effective for you in growing your brand and being out here for so long?
Yeah. Well, I say most for people that they should always remember is to be kind first.
That's a marketing strategy.
Right. Because, my mother always said you draw more flies with honey than you do vinegar.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so kindness goes a long way in this industry and in life. And just to be authentic, it's okay to be vulnerable. I had to learn that because I'm an introvert. So I want to keep things, close to my chest. But, sometimes you have to open that up and people can relate. And that's what people connect to, just you being authentic and real. That's the key.
I have one more. You didn't say it, but I'm going to say it for you. Delivering.
Yes.
Because if you want to go there, because we don't have to get into it's social media, it's Instagram, all that, right? That's very tactical. You're speaking from like a brand strategy, which I think is incredible, Erica. I'm glad you responded in that way. Kindness, because people are going to remember you, going to invite you back or they're not.
Right.
Right? I've worked with so many people over the years, and you remember, oh, don't call her team. Her team is crazy.
Yes.
Her manager, you don't want to deal with that.
Yes.
Right? Authenticity, but delivering.
Yes.
Because if you get the invitation for Jazz Fest or French Quarter Fest or Treme Fest or whatever festival, and you don't deliver, you're not going to be asked back, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you agree with that third
I
one?
agree. Delivery is key.
Okay, so the industry is really tough, right? And longevity takes more than talent. What's your best piece of advice for artists hoping to be around for decades like you?
When it gets tough, keep pushing.
Okay.
Because, the industry can make you say, all right, I throw up my hands, uncle, wave the white flag. Especially since the pandemic, it has really changed a lot. Budgets are smaller, it's harder to tour, things are more expensive. But it's in those moments when you really have to remember the joy in it, why you do it. And that's what keeps moving you forward.
Okay.
So just always remember how music makes you feel, and then that you get to be the messenger also. You get to be the messenger for other people and can be that escape for them for that moment. So it's those things, when people say, oh my gosh, I was listening to your music and it really helped my family and I get through so many things. And I'm like, whoa. So this is why I continue to push. And so this is what you have to hang on to when it gets rough, and just keep pushing forward.
Why do you do it, though? Why do you do what you do?
It won't let me go.
Because you try to break up with it.
Oh, I've tried to break up with music, and it's like, girl, come on back, come on home. And so it just won't let me go. And I realized, okay, this is my purpose. And it's so funny because music always came and got me.
Okay.
I was in school to be an educator. Then music came and got me. Okay, then I'm a creative. Okay, well then I love to do hair. Okay, I'll go and do hair. Music came and got me. Okay, I'll do the cut. And I just surrendered.
Okay.
I surrendered to the music. And that has made all the difference.
But you still do your hair on set, right?
Oh, of course.
'Cause I see the hair. I saw it at French Quarter. I was like, that's so cool. So you do the hair as well. You're
Yes,
still doing.
yes.
So you're able to use all your skills.
Yeah, I have to. When you're an independent artist, you have to have your own skill set.
Very well. Do you have a manager now?
I do.
Okay, so you have a management.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for the next generation of artists about choosing a manager?
You want to choose someone that sees your vision,
Okay.
who believes in your vision, and who will fight for your vision.
Okay.
It's so important because sometimes some managers come in and they want to put you in the cookie cutter
Right.
box, and it takes away from who you are, and you end up being something that you really didn't see for yourself, but you figure, oh well, they may know what's best for me, but only you know
Okay.
what's best for you. And the manager is there to execute your dream, your vision, and what you see. So it's very important to do
So
that.
you've spoken a word there, Erica, because I do believe that a lot of times, there's sometimes that artists don't take the time to create a vision for themselves. They just want to create, they just want to create and create and create and hope someone will come along and do all the business part, but we can't do that. They actually have to have their own vision.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Erica, your journey reminds us that music isn't just a performance, it is a way of being, it is a purpose. From your creative roots to your brand today, we are just honored to have you here in New Orleans. So you truly embody the heartbeat of New Orleans, and I want to remind everybody where you catch Miss Erica Falls, because seeing her at Jazz Fest 2026 is a must. She's going to be live on Sunday, April the 26th at 2:15 on the Congo Square Stage, right?
That's right.
So Sunday, April 26th, 2:15
Yes.
at the Congo Square during weekend one of New Orleans Jazz Fest. Erica, thank you so much for joining us today. We thank you
My
for sharing your
pleasure.
wisdom and for being the sage that you are, the energy that you share, the light that you share. Continue to inspire all of us and continue to inspire the rest of the next generation, rather, of Jazz Fest musicians and us all. Our city is so much better with having you in it, and we're grateful that you are homegrown.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, many blessings.